And turning now back to politics, we had a conviction and a plea deal last week from two of President Trump's former associates. So Phil and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, what does this all mean for President Trump?
Hasn't touched him at all.
What?
Believe me, he is so above those kind of convictions. His public, his base couldn't care less.
In fact,
period.
In fact, a number of his supporters are saying, why are we even talking about Manafort's banking? Mueller's supposed to be investigating Russia, and now it does feed into this. This is a witch hunt.
Okay, but when a guy gets convicted for as many straight-out fraud allegations as your former campaign manager was, and you say that he's a hero? I mean, come on.
Well, but that's that's a whole different world. Trump has got to be
world are we in?
careful. He wants to keep the guy silent, so to speak. And that guy, is out to lunch. How in the name of heavens do you allow yourself to still be here 5 minutes after you get busted and they tell you everything?
Oh, you're saying you should have skipped town? He
should have done what many clients of mine did. They always sent me postcards with no return address. If there was no possibility.
Melissa, what about the
Ecuadorian embassy?
The Cohen plea deal, where an undisclosed federal candidate directed me to pay hush money?
But it wasn't undisclosed. If you look at the actual charges against Cohen, it clearly says the president, and it clearly says the president directed me. So this whole idea that's out there of, oh well, because the president just reimbursed, he didn't pay it directly, that doesn't have anything to do with it. If the president actually directed an illegal act, that's still a problem.
You are accepting this lie. Keep in mind that this guy told a different story 6 months ago, 8 months ago. You got to be careful. Which do you believe when it comes to Cohen? I want to represent him myself because he clearly pays $130,000 to one lady to shut up, $120,000 to another lady to shut up. No fee comes to a criminal defense lawyer like that when there's no risk that you can do any harm to the client.
Well, looks like Willie might be representing him. So, a lot of folks, in light of this, are calling for impeachment. But legally speaking, that's unlikely, right?
Yeah, well, people don't realize that impeachment is actually sort of a two-step process. It's both the House of Representatives has a majority vote, and then the Senate has to do a two-thirds vote. And so even if Democrats were to retake the House, for example, you still would have a problem in the Senate because you don't have those two-thirds vote. Remember, Bill Clinton, for example, was impeached in the House, but he was never removed because there were not enough votes to do it in the Senate. So people, who are out there who are thinking we're on our way, probably not there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking much more about this.
A Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi didn't exactly deliver a cheerleader speech this week when she asked people to tone down their expectations about a blue wave in the November elections. She expects it's not going to be as big as some people predicted. She also asked people in her party to lay off the impeachment rhetoric. So Phil and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown what he thinks of her comments.
Well, it wasn't just last week or this week. Nancy's been saying that from the beginning. She said, be very careful, very careful. She told Tom Steyer that. She told every Democrat. She told the Bernie Eites that. She told Elizabeth Warren that. She has been very careful to say, let's stay focused on trying to win control of the House and control of the Senate. Then we can talk about what the alternatives would be. That's Nancy's theme, and that's the correct theme.
Yeah, because if you look at some of these special elections where Democrats have done pretty well, it's not just that Democrats turned out, it's that a number of Trump supporters stayed home. So the more you talk about impeachment, the more you give an incentive for Trump supporters or Republicans to come out.
Is that why she talks about the need to end the culture of corruption?
Well, culture of corruption is different, Phil. That's a legitimate place to go, period. And that has always been. Remember, Democrats suffered from that allegation in previous years. In the election in 2010, that was the allegation. Nancy was running a place where you had all these congressmen, particularly those from Detroit and other places, being nailed for all kinds of things. Culture of corruption works. People believe that.
So corruption's kind of a broad accusation, a little dangerous, right, to make that accusation in some cases.
Exactly. Certainly, if you've got your own party to deal with, and if you start going, hey, we're the non-corrupt people, they're the corrupt people, the next thing you know, somebody in your party is going to get caught doing something or other, and that kind of blows that out of the water. So that moral high ground is always a tough place to stay in politics.